position, because earlier, prior to the cloture vote, Senators Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, they released a joint statement explaining, quote, "It is expected that the Toomey Mansion provision announced yesterday will replace the current language regarding background checks, yet as of this morning, not a single senator has been provided the legislative language of this provision. Because the background check measure is the centerpiece of this legislation, it is critical that we know what's in it before we actually vote on it." That seems pretty reasonable to me, unless you have to read it to find out what's in it. Joining me now, author, columnist, provocateur. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I don't have to say your name. Everyone knows who you are.
You know, I was glad to hear you say that they hadn't distributed the language, because I was online today trying to find it, and I thought, this is so strange. This is the bill everyone's talking about, and we can't find the Toomey Mansion compromise. Compromise.
You know what bothers me the most in this? If you look at Aurora and you look at Newtown, there's nothing that's been proposed here, not a single thing that would have prevented the tragedy.
Right.
Now, I have a solution. I would put retired military, retired police in every school in the country, just like we protect presidents, politicians, Hollywood liberals, sports stars, and our money.
Right.
Why not do that?
Well, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of that, but at least your proposal isn't actually counterproductive as the Democrats' proposals are. I think what you need is extensive concealed carry laws. I mean, we know that from the studies. That's what the evidence shows. And also something that isn't only related to guns, but it's certainly related to every one of these mass shootings going back to Virginia Tech, is we have to roll back this deinstitutionalization movement. And I know I'm getting to be like a broken record, but that is the only thing that's going to make a difference. It's been talked about for years. We knew about it before Newtown. Every one of these killers, it's not a problem of guns, it's a problem of crazy people. And it's especially a problem with schizophrenics and certain brands of psychosis. And this guy, I keep talking...
And kids on psychotropic drugs. Nobody ever wants to talk about it.
And, well, the combo platter of various drugs with schizophrenia, it's very, very bad. 3 times schizophrenics and similar people with similar disorders are 3 times more likely to commit violence. Apart from the fact, I mean, just look at downtown L.A., Giuliani cleaned up most of New York, so I can't really point to New York anymore, but there was the Billy Boggs case. I mean, it's not good for the schizophrenics. They're crapping in their pants on greats. They are more likely to be victims of violence than they are to commit violence, but they are more likely to commit violence. That was what happened in Aurora. It's what happened in Tucson. It's what happened at Virginia Tech. It looks like this is what happened in Newtown. And Democrats know that's the answer, but they will exploit and play with these victims and say that their gun laws are going to do something. No, their gun laws are going to hurt the defense of the innocent.
Listen, I got to tell you, it's more than that. It's naked exploitation of dead children and grieving families. It's play acting. It's feel-goodism. And I got to tell you something. The whole thing is grotesque, because not one of their proposals would have prevented what happened. So this is all an effort.
Worse than that. It will lead to more parents weeping over their children when there is no one. I mean, I think you've interviewed, I think her name is Susanna Hupp, the woman in Luby's cafeteria in Texas, and she had to watch when some, again, crazy man drives his truck into the Luby's cafeteria and starts shooting people. He's able to stop and reload. Susanna Hupp, I think that's her name, had her car. She had a license to a gun, but she had left it in the trunk of her car because she wasn't allowed to carry it into the Luby's cafeteria. She watched her parents be gunned down. No, concealed carry protects the innocent. We should be subsidizing them. We shouldn't be taxing them and making it difficult for them to get guns. These background checks provably delay women who are being stalked, who have a risk of being raped, when there are intruders and burglars on the loose. To ask a woman to wait 3 days, to wait through the weekend, perhaps a week, if there's a false positive on the background check, which happens a lot, more than 95% of the cases are false background, are false negatives. You're allowing women to be utterly defenseless there.
The next instance is
Sometimes you need a gun quickly, is my point. That's why I'm mentioning women.
Listen, Obama didn't do anything the whole first term if this was such an important moral imperative. Chicago has now, for well over a year, been going through incredible gun violence, handgun violence. If he wanted to propose what he wants, which is to ban all guns, confiscate all guns. And he's only doing what he thinks is politically viable. It's just like gay marriage. He's for it, he's against it, he's neutral, then now he's for it.
Right.
You know, and this
well,
is what
they're very cocky, these liberals, right now, which is why I was sort of heartened by liberals secretly taping Senator Mitch McConnell. Maybe they're not quite as cocky as they're acting. If they're so worried about Mitch McConnell in Kentucky, he's going to get reelected. But, you know, another fake thing, in addition to this compromise bill where they tell us what it's going to do but won't let us read the bill. And I think this can't be said often enough, and that is this fake poll about 90% supporting these idiotic, counterproductive gun proposals of the Democrats that will make it more difficult for the law-abiding, protecting the innocent to get guns. I mean, where is that poll? Can we see the poll? They lie to people in polls. A universal background check, 40% of guns aren't subject to a background check. That is a lie. That has even been said to be a lie by the Washington Post. All guns sold by a licensed gun dealer, including guns at gun shows. More than 90% of guns at gun shows, probably all of them, are sold by licensed gun dealers. They're all subject to background checks.
The biggest advocate and has helped the gun industry sell more guns more than any other person?
Oh, yes, I do.
That would be Barack Obama.
Salesman of the year in every gun shop.
All right, and by the way, let me tell you, there is an answer. In New York, for example, under Mayor Giuliani, violent crime dropped 56%, murders went down by 2/3, robberies fell 67%, aggravated assault, everything went down because we got tough on crime.
Not only that, there are different categories of gun. There's straight gun crime, you need somebody like Giuliani, and tough on crime policies. What we're talking about now, the urgency that we have to do something in the children, that is because of mass shootings by crazy people. And Democrats refuse to do anything about crazy people because their friends in the ACLU get upset. And according to, we haven't read the bill yet, but according to what they've said about the Toomey Manchin compromise, it has this completely insane provision that cannot be constitutional, where a shrink could privately tattle, call in the name of one of his clients and put him on the no-buy list. Can you imagine a private citizen being able to stop someone from exercising a constitutional right? People have been thinking about this for such a long time. I keep citing E. Fuller Torrey, who wrote The Insanity Offense, trying to roll back the deinstitutionalization movement for crazy people who harm themselves and harm others. And he has specific ideas. Have a family member, a roommate, law enforcement officer, and a shrink testify before a judge that this person should not be on the street.
All right, let me talk about your recent column. By the way, Ann Coulter got in trouble again, and these are comments that you made. You talk about Republican senators need to have a member of their families killed.
No.
Martin Bashir said that.
Yeah, do not say I am saying.
You didn't say. All right, Martin Bashir, you're quoting him.
Martin Bashir on MSNBC said that Republicans need to have a member of their family killed to support the Democratic gun proposal.
And then you wrote, let's start with Meghan McCain.
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. Okay.
Obviously a joke.
Now, wait a minute. This is the daughter of a prominent senator, young girl, and people are saying, why would Ann Coulter say?
Tell a joke, yeah. Why would Ann Coulter tell a joke? For one thing, gosh, you got a lot more press for that heinous thing Martin Bashir said. Nobody knew about that until I added a joke, which is known as hyperbole. I mean, name a child of another Republican. Ron Reagan Jr.? Yeah. I made a joke about him last week. I don't want it to be overkill. But what other, I mean, you have to come up with a child of a Republican. It was Martin Bashir who was not joking when he asked rhetorically, are we going to have a child of a Republican senator killed to have them to support this gun bill, as if the Republican position is, no, we don't mind dead kids. No, our position is your proposals are going to lead to more dead kids. Our proposals will stop dead kids. And I'm really fed up with this idea that, oh, if we only listen to the families. Well, I'm quite sure some of the families are not.
Wait a minute, there was one father of one of these children that got killed in Newtown. He didn't get to fly in Air Force One because he doesn't take the position of the president.
No, I'm sure there's more than one. This is the Jersey Girls all over again. Find the victims who agree with us and send out weeping women to argue with the Republicans so that we can push very dangerous policies, which is what the Democrats' gun proposal.
I'm glad to hear you don't want to see children killed. You were being sarcastic.
I think the exclamation point made it clear, and the fact that everyone laughed when they read it.
All right.